Hi again. Let me share with you something that the Lord has taught me just the other day, and it is concerning the unfaithful manager, that is, unfaithful steward, that is described in Luke chapter 16. And I will provide my own example of that as well. Let us go and read it. This is Luke chapter 16, starting at verse 1. And he said also unto his disciples, There was a certain rich man, which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him, and said unto him, How is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest be no longer steward. Then the steward said within himself, What shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. I cannot dig, to beg I am ashamed. I am resolved what to do, that when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. So he called every one of his Lord's debtors unto him, and said unto the first, How much owest thou unto my Lord? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said unto him, Take thy bill, and sit down quickly, and write 50. Then said he to another, And how much owest thou? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, Take thy bill, and write 80. And the Lord commended the unjust steward, because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. And I say unto you, Make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that, when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Now, as we could see here, there was this steward who squandered the Lord's riches, his goods. And instead of going and repenting to the Lord, he was already calculating as what he should have to live off of. So he reasoned in his mind that he should go to the Lord's debtors and just write off their debts. So what is this about? This is actually about people not wanting to go and bow down to the Lord, but they chose riches instead. So they were thinking, okay, I served the Lord for this long and he blessed me, but now that I messed this up, I won't go and humble myself in front of the Lord. But these riches look very tempting and they're very good to me. So I will go into the world and I will gather myself riches there from people who think they are indebted to the Lord. So I'll just tell them they're no longer in debt. And what is that? It is sin. So let me give you an example just to bring this issue closer to you, because I've seen it in churches today. So I was in a church where there was this pastor who I later found out was actually very concerned about money. And whatever he did was actually him trying to get more money for himself, because he could do no work and obviously he wouldn't beg. So he just reasoned, okay, I am going to get my money from these people that come to this church, and I will tell them what they want to hear, that they are not that bad in front of the Lord, and they will reward me with money because everyone wants to hear that, right? And he was right. So he would say the following. For example, you know, you're not that bad. This is what you have in mind, gossiping, and everything. This is actually you speaking the truth. And this is righteous anger that you feel. So you are okay. You can continue on with that. Or, for example, the following. Yes, masturbation is not so bad. The Lord punished Onan from the Old Testament, but today, it doesn't apply. That was back then, and that was regarding his situation. But today, the Lord understands your natural needs. So, yes, you can masturbate. So, what he was actually doing is he was writing off or giving the impression of writing off certain debts that people owed to the Lord. So, he was actually lessening the impact of sin in the eyes of those people so that he could get money for himself, because people will reward him because he told them what they wanted to hear. So they feel quite good about themselves because they could stay in sin and feel righteous at the same time. The guilt was gone. So he tickled their ears for a bit, and they liked it. So they rewarded him. And the Lord says this, and it can be quite confusing, but let us read it again. This is in Luke chapter 16 in verse 8. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. Because he was wise, but this was this sort of situation. He was wise as a serpent, but he wasn't harmless as a dove. He was actually harmful as a serpent as well. But let us imagine this situation. What would have happened if people who claim to be of God today cherished God so much that they would go out into the world and actually tell the truth to people? And that is, if you come to the Lord, not to me, if you come to the Lord, He won't write off 20, 30, 60, or even 80% of your debt, that is your sin. He will remove all of it. Imagine what this world would look like if people were to do that. So, just to bring this, onto the light, he also says to the steward in verse 10 that he that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. Which means that he was given a certain amount of goods, and those goods appealed to him so much that he decided to do everything for that and discard God for it. And that, because of which he discarded God, was actually least that he could get. And he was unfaithful in that. So, of course, that God wouldn't give him more. So he also proved himself to be unjust in that which is least. So he actually showed to the Lord that he would be unjust in that which is much if God were to give that to him. So it says in the following verse this: if therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? Because what they highly esteemed was actually unrighteous mammon. And God esteems something else. And let us go further to elaborate this, to verse 15. And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God. So what they esteemed, and because of which they actually left God, is unrighteous mammon, which is highly esteemed among men, but to the Lord it is abomination. So they think if they dress nicely, if they have money, if people praise them because of those things, that they are actually okay. But God warns them of the impending doom, because later on in this chapter, he tells a story of a certain rich man and a beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, and he was full of sores. And Lazarus desired to be fed with the crumbs that fell from the rich man's table, and the dogs licked his wounds. And that rich man didn't give those crumbs to him, he just ignored him. But when the time passed and the beggar died, he was carried by angels to Abraham to heaven. And the rich man also died, and he ended up in hell. And when he saw Abraham together with Lazarus, he cried and he said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. And Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. So that which was esteemed among Pharisees and among men didn't earn him a place in heaven. So both that rich man and Lazarus died. But the rich man, thinking that he was safe by having money, by having nice clothes, by having praises of men, he thought that everything was fine, when in fact it wasn't. He was the one that ended up in hell. And Lazarus, who was sick and had nothing, ended up in heaven, because God cherishes different things from the world. So yes, today's churches are havens for Pharisees, because these people will do everything for money. They will tell you that you are okay with God, that you're not that bad, that your sin is not that grave. And they will tell you that you are saved by grace and you don't have to do anything for your salvation. They will do everything they can just to get money. So please be careful with these people. All they care about is money. They don't care about people, and they don't care about God. So this is it. Please be safe, and may Jesus bless you.